2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Reiter Than You on the Infinity Sports Network.
It is Ryan Hickey in for Bill right here on Reiter Than You. A very happy Wednesday to you. It's a special Wednesday because not only is it just hump day, middle of the week, we're closing in on the weekend here, but at least in terms of the college football world, the transfer portal, the spring transfer portal window has opened. It is open for 10 days from April 13th to the 25th. Or, I'm sorry, April 16th to the 26th. My dates all mixed up there. Today's the first day. And the biggest thing that has officially entered the transfer portal, former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. 20 minutes from now, top of the hour, we'll discuss his situation, the latest on it, and a lesson NFL teams can learn from this entire Nico Iamaleava and Tennessee fiasco. 20 minutes from now, we will continue to break that down and keep you updated on his whereabouts here as the latest drama of college football does unfold. But at least in terms of NFL drama, there is a lot of drama to the draft. Where does Shedeur Sanders go? What do the Giants and Browns do at picks 2 and 3? Like, there are some questions, right, as we head into the draft, which is a little over a week away. I think one of the biggest questions about this draft is, what the hell do you do with Travis Hunter? Right, that's the biggest question. You play him at receiver. You play him at DB. How much do you play him both sides of the ball? We actually weighed in on that. That last part, how much does he want to play on each side of the ball? He spoke to CBS Sports recently. I'm going to read you what he said because it's fascinating. He was asked, hey, if a team said, we want you to predominantly play wide receiver or defensive back, you're only going to play one position in one side of the ball, how would you react to that? How would you be with that? And he essentially said he would quit football if that's the case. Listen to this quote he told CBS Sports. Quote, "It's never playing football again because I've been doing it my whole life and love being on the football field. I feel like I could dominate on each side of the ball, so I really enjoy doing it. End quote. Look, I don't care what Travis Hunter says. You're not quitting, throw that out, throw that threat out the window. If you draft Travis Hunter, you cannot play him full-time at corner and wide receiver. You cannot do it. You have to pick one and play him sparingly at the other, because physically, his body's not going to hold up playing full-time corner and full-time wide receiver on the NFL level. Every single hit he takes is a car crash. The NFL is much more physical and much more taxing on the body than college football is. There's no Colorado State on your schedule. Every single team, every single player you go against is a grown-ass man. Even the scrubs are tanks, are grown-ass men. So if you're going to take Travis Hunter at pick 2 if you're the Browns, at pick 3 if you're the Giants, why on earth would you throw him on the field for every single offensive and defensive play and risk him just getting absolutely pulverized, beaten to a pulp? Physically, in terms of conditioning-wise, I have no doubts he can absolutely do it again. We've seen him play at Colorado 120, 130 plays a game. But physically here is, I think, what is not getting enough attention. That is a physical grind that I don't think he can do, nor do I think NFL teams want to see if he can do it or not. This is a very valuable asset you're taking at pick 2 or 3. Why on earth would you put him in harm's way like that? That to me just seems foolish. You're asking for trouble. You're asking him to get worn down and knocked out of the league in 5 years if you're going to play him 100 snaps a game for 17 games plus the playoffs every single year. It is far too grueling and far too taxing. So here's what I would do if I was an NFL team. If I'm the Browns at pick 2, if I'm the Giants at pick 3, I draft Travis Hunter. I say, Travis, you want to play both sides? We'll let you play both sides. But I'm drafting you to be a corner first. You are predominantly going to be on the outside playing corner, and then maybe we'll give you 5 or 10 plays on offense at receiver to have you make some plays with the ball in your hand and see what you can do. That's it. Predominantly one position, sparingly the other. That's how I'm handling a top 3 pick, because I'm not putting him in harm's way to get him hurt. And why I'm putting him at DB is because for a top 3 pick, the value of drafting an defensive back is way higher than it is drafting a receiver. Look, it's easier than ever to draft a receiver. That contributes. But it is hard as hell to find a legitimate shutdown corner in the draft. I just want to quickly here show you and highlight this by showing you the best corners right now in the league and where they're drafted. Pat Surtain just won the Defensive Player of the Year, 9th overall pick in his draft class. Derek Stingley, 3rd overall pick in his draft class. Sauce Gardner, number 4 overall. Marlon Humphrey of the Ravens, top 20 pick. Trent McDuffie of the Chiefs, 21st overall. Christian Gonzalez of the Patriots, 17th overall. The best corners in the league are not 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks. They are 1st round picks, and specifically, for the most part, top 20, top 10 picks. It's very hard to find a shutdown, lockdown, outside corner beyond pick 20. So the value you're getting if you're one of these teams drafting Travis Hunter, putting him at DB, is infinitely higher than if you draft him at number 3 and play receiver. Because you look at the receivers in the league, you can find a receiver really anywhere in the draft. Justin Jefferson, 5th receiver taken in his draft class. Tyreek Hill, and now I know there are some legal off the field problems that contributed to this, but still, 5th round pick. CeeDee Lamb, 3rd receiver taken in his draft class. A.J. Brown, 4th receiver taken in his draft class. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a 4th round pick. Jamar Chase is the only receiver right now in the league that was a top 5 pick. That was the 1st receiver taken in his draft class that's really panned out and become one of the best elite receivers in the league. Otherwise, you could find guys in the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round. So if you're the Browns, if you're the Giants, and you say, hey, look, we want to get some DB help, we want to get some receiver help, why on earth would you draft Travis Hunter at 3 to be a receiver? Because if you got to go back on the draft, let's say the 2nd or 3rd round, then you're looking to pick a DB, you're picking a way worse DB at that point in the draft versus drafting Hunter at 3, putting him at DB. Then if you want to circle back in the second or third round at receiver, it's much easier to find someone to fill that role and play at a high level. You maximize your value if you're a team in the draft by drafting Hunter as a DB, playing him a little bit as a receiver versus the other way around. Like I don't think Travis Hunter's worth a top 3 pick if you're going to play him at receiver predominantly. Because I can find guys like Tedero or McMillan, out of Arizona. Matthew Golden out of Texas. There are 3-4 legitimate receivers here that can be taken at any point in the draft that I think you can get similar, if not better, production from than Hunter later on. Draft him at DB, play him there, and then play him at, receiver here and there sparingly. But either way, whatever position you want to predominantly play at him, because I know there's been a big debate of is he receiver, is he defensive back, wherever you want to play him, I think the team that drafts him, the biggest thing they have to do is not listen to what he's saying. Not go along with the plan of, hey, I want to play every play. I want to play every offensive play. I want to play every defensive play. Because when every single hit, every single tackle is a car crash, why the hell would you want to put a player as special and as athletic as Travis Hunter in harm's way more than you have to? Limit his ability because he's worn out from so many hits he's either given or taken. And I think prematurely end his career because you're asking him to do too much. Makes no sense to have him try to tackle Derrick Henry 10 times a game, then go and run 30 routes in a game as well, go over the middle, get hit by linebackers and safeties. You're going to get him killed. So I don't care what Travis Hunter says. He threatens to quit. He would never quit. Well, let's be real here. We've heard that a lot. I'll retire. I'll quit. I'll hold out. Players, they love football too much. They could say it now. It's also easy to say now. Because we're 4 or 5 months away from the regular season starting? It's easy when there's no football going on to say, hey, I won't play. I'll retire if you don't play me the way I want to be played. Come August when training camp's going on, come September when games are being played, you'll see Travis Hunter on that field, no doubt about it. So it's an empty threat, but a threat teams truly cannot listen to if you want to get the most value and the best bang for your buck in drafting Travis Hunter in the top 3 of the draft. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4ISN. It is Ryan Hickey in for Bill Reiter right here on Reiter Than You. You heard Travis Hunter threaten teams to say, I'll retire if you want to play me on just one side of the ball. How would you play Travis Hunter? Are you someone that says, you know what? Yeah, throw him out there. 100 snaps a game, let him play. He's too good to not play full-time at DB and receiver. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4ISN. That is the number to call here to give your thoughts on how NFL teams should handle Travis Hunter. Speaking of handling situations, let's go back to the NBA here. Because the Dallas Mavericks have become elite at making a bad situation worse. Right? We don't have to relitigate it. The Luka Doncic trade is going to go down as the worst trade in sports history. Right? That's obvious. It's aging worse by the day. But just as bad as the trade itself has been how the Mavericks have handled it since that deal has been made public. Everything the Mavericks have done has been a complete masterclass of what not to do. Starting with Nico, I was going to say Nico Iamaleava, a different Nico here, Nico Harrison, leaving the press conference right after the trade was made official. In his first press conference with the media, he left the press conference after 3 minutes. And he left Jason Kidd on an island to answer so many questions, despite Jason Kidd not being obviously the ringleader of this deal. From that, then we had the leaks of Luka's weight and how out of shape he was, how they didn't trust him, to then the Mavericks putting out a second half of the season hype video for their fans, in which they included Luka Doncic highlights, but instead of showing him as to not, re-trigger some PTSD for Mavs fans, they blacked him out. They literally put a black silhouette and a Mavericks logo over his face, thinking fans would not notice who that is. I'll tell you, they have done everything you could have possibly done wrong and have botched this situation as badly as you could have botched it post-trade. And it continued to get worse yesterday. Because only for the second time since the trade went down, Nico Harrison met with the media. But But there was a caveat. Caveat number one, invite only. So forget about being credentialed. You had to be on a list of certain media members to be allowed into this quote-unquote press conference. And number two, there was no recording of any kind allowed. No video from this press conference, no audio from this press conference, no even pictures from this press conference. All we know from this big deal, or from this big meeting, I should say, is what reporters are tweeting out and what they're saying Nico said. And what he has said, I see now why he doesn't want the video out there, because he is sounding more and more foolish by the day. He doubled down, tripled down on his reasoning for trading Luka, saying that defense wins championships. And this is, by the way, despite having Anthony Davis and still allowing 45 points to Luka in his return to Dallas in a loss. But hey, defense wins championships. He also said this is fascinating, that he doubted, he had his own doubts that Luka, if offered, would sign the Supermax deal. Now, mind you, in the history, the Supermax hasn't been around a long time. It's basically a deal that allows teams that draft a player to give him more money to stay versus any other team, if they reach free agency, what they could give him. There's no team in the NBA or no player in NBA history that has turned down a Supermax. Yet here, Nico Harrison is saying, I don't know if he would have taken it. So we got out ahead of it and traded him. And then finally, this is a guy who was asked about his future. Hey, Nico, what do you think about your future? He said, I plan on being here as long as my contract lasts, which is another 3 years. Have you ever heard of someone that wants to stay in their current role saying, yeah, I'm going to work here as long as my contract is up, or as long as my contract is going? You always hear coaches, players say, hey, I want to be here for the rest of my career. I want to be and finish my career as a Dallas Maverick. You want to talk about adding insult to injury? Adding insult to injury is not firing Nico Harrison if you're the Mavericks. It's having him leave you to go back to sneaker sales when his contract is up. To make this deal, this franchise-altering deal, to turn the fan base completely against the organization, and then say, I'm done here, guys. See you later. I'm going back to my old job at Nike. He continues to handle this as poorly as you possibly can. I feel bad for Mavs fans. I really do. Oh, my goodness. All right, it's Ryan Hickey in for Bill Reiter right here on Reiter Than You. When we do return, we'll give you the lesson NFL teams should learn from Nico Iamaleava and the solution to make sure in college football this doesn't happen again. We'll give it to you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's Bill Reiter, and he's Reiter than you.
The program Reiter than you. Sometimes.
He's a fan.
I love sports so much.
He's in your face.
I will destroy those obnoxiously arrogant, clueless, tone-deaf superstars who are marginal players, good players, made careers, who believe they're Hall of Famers.
He's nice.
I promise. We're nice here.
He's humble.
I think I'm usually pretty good here on the show about admitting when I got it wrong.
It's Reiter than you on the Infinity Sports Network.
And welcome on in. It is Reiter Than You. Both Ryan Hickey in for Bill right here on this Wednesday. Appreciate you joining us here and tuning in on this hump day. Thank you for making us a part of your Wednesday. Hopefully it's been going well so far. We got another hour for you to make it even better than it already has been. It's been a rough Wednesday. It's been a rough week, let's say, for former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. And that is because, as I'm sure you're well aware at this point, he has left Tennessee because of an NIL dispute. This morning is the first opening of the spring transfer portal window. So he has officially entered his name in the transfer portal. That portal is open for 10 days. It ends next Saturday. And this is the last time players can transfer before next season, the regular season starts here in 2025. And for Nico, you thought it was bad leaving Tennessee, leaving a playoff team last year where you underperformed because you wanted a pay raise and is not getting it or wasn't getting it from the Vols. Well, your Wednesday then is not off to a good start because from all reports right now, the market for Nico Iamaleava, remember, this was a former 5-star recruit from California who, despite underperforming last year for Tennessee, did get the Vols to the college football playoff. They were one of the 12 playoff teams last season and projected to be, in the mix again this season. Despite that, there right now is no market for the former Tennessee quarterback, where schools like USC, Notre Dame, North Carolina, all teams thought to be interested once this day did come, once Nico did officially enter the transfer portal, have all rebuffed their interest. Even a school like Tulane, who reportedly was negotiating with Nico and his father and his family friend about trying to have him play for the Green Wave, apparently the negotiations went poorly and Tulane backed out. So right now, there's, as we sit here and are talking to you at 11:02 a.m. Eastern on this Wednesday, as the transfer portal is open in college football, there right now is no reported team interested, willing to talk to Nico Iamaleava. It's bad. It is really bad. So you think you are having a bad week or a bad Wednesday so far? Well, imagine being Nico. Not good whatsoever here. So we'll continue to keep you updated on his whereabouts, and I'll give you here in buy or sell in about 20 minutes. I'll give you the team where I think he ends up playing in 2025. But before we get there, I think this entire Nico Iamaleava situation underscores a gigantic change that has to come to college football immediately. And it's the introduction of contracts. Not NIL contracts, but contracts players sign with schools. So whether you're a high school recruit, whether you are a transfer portal recruit, when you sign with a school, when you sign an NIL deal, you are also signing to play for that school for a set number of years. Right? You can negotiate it with whatever school you want, whether it's 1 year, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but you sign a contract with that school so that you can't enter the transfer portal. You can't every year bounce around and hold schools hostage and end up like Nico and Tennessee, where you're both kind of looking there, where right now they are both worse off without each other. They are. Tennessee does not have a quarterback in a year they're expected to make the playoff, and Nico right now has nowhere to go. No teams are interested in him despite leading Tennessee to the playoff last year and being a 5-star recruit. This whole situation has hurt both sides. So I think how you prevent it from happening again is by forcing players to sign contracts so that basically every year they can't play this game of pay me or I'm gone. Because that's what's happening right now. There are no rules. Like, that's part of the issue in college football. NIL contracts are not tied to schools. You know, you sign a contract with a company or corporation, you kind of have to live out what they expect from you. But rarely is there a language that says, hey, you have to play for this specific school for this amount of time. There's nothing stopping Nico Iamaleava from doing what he did, which is why he's doing it. There's nothing stopping any kid right now in college football from going to a school, saying, hey, give me this NIL deal or I'm gone, and then following through if they don't get what they want, right? In the pros, you want to hold out, you don't get paid. You can't just say, hey, I'm leaving the Steelers because I don't like the contract they're offering me, and I'm now going to go play for the Ravens. That doesn't happen. Those contracts prevent what we're seeing in college football happening in the NFL, and I think those style of contracts need to come to college football because I don't think either Nico or Tennessee, the player or the school, benefits right now from this current system. I don't think it's in Nico Iamaleava's best interest to bounce from school to school, chasing the biggest payday, and end up, before you go to the NFL, 3 or 4 schools in your college career. Because every single time you go to a new school, you're learning a new playbook, you're learning new teammates, it's a new system, it's a new conference. So there's no continuity. You're not improving your skills. You're not getting better because all you're doing is constantly relearning every single year. There's very little growth and very little development because it's all new every single year. And that's not helping you become the best player you can be at the college level, and that's certainly not helping you become the best player you can be at the NFL level. So you're hurting your own growth here. You're hurting your own long-term value by chasing the bag in the short term. And if you're the school, obviously, it doesn't help you whatsoever by having kids have the ability to hold you hostage or leave. Hey, give me $4 million or I'm out of here. How does that help you? Because then every single year, you're re-recruiting your roster. You're spending resources either financially or just time-wise on making sure kids are staying instead of focusing on what matters, which is, right, trying to coach them up, trying to make them better, trying to win as many games as you can. So this current system, well, I am all for players getting paid. I've been pounding the table for a long time. I've done plenty of college projects, actually, at Penn State about why kids and why athletes should get paid. I am overjoyed that they are getting the payday they deserve. But with that said, there needs to be some rules and a system in place here to where both sides benefit. Contracts help both sides here. The player and the school. You still get your money if you're the player. But now you can't transfer willy-nilly. Hurting your growth. Hurts your rep. Really good. Look, Nico is toxic. A former 5-star quarterback with still a lot of promise, who led a team to the playoff last year, is radioactive, and right now he's in the portal and no one is talking to him. That's unheard of. You know how many bad quarterbacks transfer 3, 4, 5 times, get a 5th or 6th opportunity to be a starter? And you're telling me a guy who had a lot of promise coming out of high school, who at least helped get his team in the SEC to the playoff last year, is untouchable? It's all because of his rep. Because no schools want to deal with the BS that comes along with him, which is his dad and his family. That's hurting Nico Iamaleava, the player. He's getting bad advice. And before you say it's his fault, he's a college kid. He's 20 years old. Let's not pretend he's a full-fledged adult and should be making his own decisions. He's getting bad advice from his father. I can't fault him for listening to his dad. I do the same thing. You grow up trusting your dad, your parents, that they are leading you down the best path for you possible. You never think your parents are out there sabotaging you. That's exactly what's happening. I can't fault him for listening, but because there's no system in place to prevent him from hurting himself, now he's doing exactly what he shouldn't be doing, which is hurting himself. Contracts prevent that. They help the player. They help the team. They provide some stability in a sport that is extremely unstable at the moment. Contracts solve a lot and would prevent going forward what we're seeing with Nico Iamaleava and Tennessee. Because while Nico is the first to pull this move, to hold the school hostage, to threaten, then follow through on transferring when he doesn't get the money he deserves, while he's the first, he will not be the last. I can absolutely promise you that. That's why I think contracts have to come and be instituted into college sports immediately. That's a solution. But now also, what I want to talk about here with this whole Nico Iamaleava situation is that there's a lesson beyond just Nico, beyond just Tennessee, the program. There's a lesson that I think every single NFL team should learn from this Nico Tennessee debacle, and that's this. You never pay a good quarterback great quarterback money because you will always regret it. That's what's happening here. Nico Iamaleava was reportedly making $2.2 million per year at Tennessee. He saw other quarterbacks getting more money than him. He said, hey, look, I want a pay raise. I want double my salary. The reports out there is that he's asking Tennessee, or was asking Tennessee, for $4 million. $4 million. Tennessee said, no, you're not worth it. We're not paying you. We got to see more because while we did get to the playoff last year, you were not one of the reasons why. Nico, in case you don't know or forgot, Nico last year for Tennessee had 19 touchdown passes. Here's the problem, though. 11 of those 19 touchdown passes came in 3 games against Chattanooga, UTEP, Vandy. He had 5 total touchdowns in the other 7 SEC games combined. And outside of Alabama, which he's not played great in, by the way, anyway, he struggled against the best competition on Tennessee's roster, including throwing for just 104 yards on 31 pass attempts against Ohio State in the playoff. This guy's not good. He underperformed last year. You could argue him getting $2 million to play the way he did last year was an overpayment. Yet here he is asking for double that salary. Good for Tennessee. Even in an uncapped world right now that college football is, saying no to paying a good quarterback, great quarterback money is always the way to go because you will never regret it. Nico's not worth paying $4 million to. Good on Tennessee for saying, no, we're not doing it. Because you see it happen far too often in the NFL where good quarterbacks are getting great quarterback money. And I don't know really any team right now that's feeling good about it. Look at the Dolphins. Dolphins are the perfect example. Tua is a good quarterback, fine quarterback, top half of the league, probably like 14, 15 in terms of QB ranking 1 through 32. He's solid, but he can't stay healthy. He plays his worst football against the best opponents on the Dolphins schedule, and he can't play in the cold weather. Despite that, the Dolphins are paying him a top 6 salary in the NFL at $53 million per year. Do you think the Dolphins feel good about that? Do you think they feel good about giving Tua $53 million per year over the next 4 years? I would say hell no. Because what you do in paying good quarterback, great quarterback money is not only do you overpay at the most important position, but you also hamstring yourself from building the team around a quarterback who clearly needs help. And Patrick Mahomes, we've seen, can carry the Chiefs to a Super Bowl without the best weapons around him. Joe Burrow has done it. Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback worth of money. Like there are a few quarterbacks. Josh Allen is a guy who's done it as well, right? There are a few quarterbacks that can elevate those around him. Those are the guys you pay $50, $55 million a year to. Not Tua. Because now, all of a sudden, if you're the Dolphins, you are now cap-strapped and can't put good weapons around Tua, and you can't expect him to play better because he struggles as it is already. And you see it happen far too often. The Dolphins are an example. The Cowboys, think they feel good about paying Dak Prescott an average $60 million per year? They need help at a lot of positions. Is Dak good enough to raise the offense if he doesn't have a great receiver behind CeeDee Lamb? If he doesn't have a great running game to take the pressure off of him? If he doesn't have a great offensive line, blocking for him, is he great? No. He needs help. Most quarterbacks need help. But that's why I wouldn't pay a good quarterback, great quarterback money. Because all you do is end up regretting it. And now the Dolphins have a guy making top 6 money that can barely get them to the playoffs. That I would not trust to win a playoff game. Dallas is stuck where they're in a similar situation, where they're getting passed up by the Eagles in their own division and the Commanders now in their own division. They are at best the third team in that NFC East, despite paying their quarterback number 1 in terms of average annual salary. You see so often NFL teams feel like they have no choice. Oh, I got to pay him. God forbid, we can't live in a world where if we don't have Tua Tagovailoa as our quarterback, we got to give him the earth, the moon, and the stars. He wants 55. Well, we have no choice. We got to throw our hands up and say, sorry, Tua, or sorry, everyone else. We got to pay Tua. More teams should do what Tennessee did. Trust your evaluations. Trust what you're seeing on Sundays. If you don't think a quarterback is living up to the billing of a top 5 salary, which now is $55 million and up, if you don't think he's worth it, don't pay it. Because you're going to end up in a worse spot than you would if you don't pay. If you say goodbye to Tua and figure it out somewhere else. Not saying you can find the guy immediately, but you remain flexible, whether it's trading up in the draft to find the guy, whether it's another quarterback that shakes loose, like on a lesser salary, you can build up the team around him. There are plenty of different ways to win a Super Bowl. It's not just cut out one way to do it. But with that said, the worst thing you can do in terms of trying to chase a Super Bowl here is give good quarterback, great quarterback money. I think more teams should take a page out of what Tennessee did. Realize that, we are better off at allowing this guy to go get the bag from somewhere else and overpay our quarterback somewhere else and figure it out with a cheaper quarterback versus giving a guy you truly don't believe in a big time money, more money than he's worth, because you are afraid of what's on the other side. That's the lesson most teams should learn in this entire Nico, Iamaleava, and Tennessee situation. 888-710-4ISM. 888-710-4ISN. It is Ryan Hickey in for Bill right here on Reiter Than You. When we do return, it is time for buy or sell, including we'll give you a prediction as to where the former Tennessee quarterback will be playing football here in 2025. We'll do that when Reiter Than You with Ryan Hickey filling in for Bill returns right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Reiter Than You on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's Ryan Hickey in for Bill on this Wednesday. As a reminder, this portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. So, at least for me, when you look at this entire Nico Iamaleava situation, as he's now official in the transfer portal, leaving Tennessee, looking for his next destination, I think to prevent this from happening moving forward, from this becoming widespread among college football and becoming basically every year players threatening schools for money or leaving, the solution is implementing contracts. Contracts that players sign with schools, so that way you are tied to a school for a certain amount of time. Skipper Tim Page just tweeted Ryan_Hickey3. He, speaking of Nico, is hurting himself, but I agree they need contracts with the school. And that's a thing, like, I'm all for player empowerment because I think for so long they've been oppressed and they have gotten no rights whatsoever. So the transfer portal thing is a positive. If you want to go somewhere else and you think it's going to be better for your career, go for it. You deserve to get paid absolutely the amount of money you bring into a school. You should get compensated for, no doubt about it. But it almost is sometimes like to your detriment of too much too quick, where that freedom can work both for you, but also against you. And now if you are going and if you're in the case of Nico, leaving a school, a playoff caliber school, to go play for, I don't know, UCLA? Maybe? I mean, Tulane was reportedly interested. You're going to go from Tennessee to Tulane or North Carolina with less talent around you and expect that's going to be to your benefit as a player for your NFL draft stock? It doesn't make sense. It does not help you. So I think player movement helps, but also at the same time make it absolutely hurt. And that's what I think in this case we're seeing here with Nico Iamaleava. In terms of his future, let's get into it because it's time for Buy or Sell.
What side will Bill take on the biggest issues in the world of sports? It's time for today's edition of Buy or Sell on Reiter Than You.
Jack Carty producing today. What do we got, Jack?
Ryan, I am ready for Buy or Sell. Are you ready for Buy or Sell today?
Very ready.
Okay, so we are starting off with, as you mentioned before, college football quarterback Nico Iamaleava has entered the transfer portal. Nailed his last name. Wasn't sure I was going to do it, but we got it. He entered the transfer portal from Tennessee, but no team, as you mentioned, has picked him up. Teams like Notre Dame, USC, North Carolina, and Tulane are no longer interested in him. Ryan, buy or sell, do you believe that Nico Iamaleava will be picked up by a team?
Oh, buy, for sure. He'll get picked up, no doubt about it. Where he goes, I think it's going to end with him playing at UCLA. He's from the West Coast, out in California. And now at this point, I don't think he's another option. If you're UCLA, you're not going to be very good next year anyway under Sean Foster. Probably barely fighting for I think they'll win 4 or 5 games next year. So if you're UCLA and you have a quarterback that you got in the transfer portal and Joey Aguilar from App State, but that's your guy, you could do better in terms of upgrading to a 5-star talent who's local, which maybe can help you kind of get some roots into the LA area. USC's been dominating that field. Maybe now you can start planting some roots if you're UCLA in the LA market where there's so much talent. And his price is going to be very low. I mean, I don't think he's even going to make next year what he was getting at Tennessee and that he was upset with, which is $2.2 million. He's asking for 4. You're only going to get that if there's a bull market. There's no one right now that wants Nico. And even CBS Sports is reporting that contact between Nico's camp and UCLA has been very minimal. I think UCLA can get him at a discount. He's going to, I would assume, be there most likely 1 year before he leaves either for the NFL draft or to transfer somewhere else. But I think it's a low risk, high reward. You bring him in, expect it to be for 1 year. You hope he finds something, elevates the program, maybe helps plant some roots in the LA area for recruiting. And if he leaves, then it's a 1 year headache at a decent or a pretty good price compared to what he was asking for. I think he ends up at UCLA.
Okay. Now, moving on, as we mentioned before, too, with Travis Hunter, a top prospect coming into the NFL draft, said he was going to quit football if he can't play both ways in the NFL. Hunter was quoted by saying, "It's never playing football again. because been doing it my whole life, and I love being on the football field. I feel like I could dominate on each side of the ball, so I really enjoy doing it. Ryan, buy or sell? Do you think Hunter is being serious about quitting football if he's denied playing both ways in the NFL?
No, there's no shot. That is, if you're a team like the Browns or Giants picking at 2 or 3 and you are interested in drafting Hunter, there should be zero fear of Travis Hunter quitting and retiring because he's only playing one side of the field. Again, it's easy for him to say that now. He wants to try to get as much leverage as he can to do what he wants. But as soon as training camp starts, as soon as the regular season starts, you're telling me he's going to sit out because they're telling him, hey, Travis, you can only play DB. You can only play wide receiver. He's playing. No, this is what he wants to do. This is what he loves to do. There is zero shot, zero. He retires because he's only playing one side of the ball.
I agree. I think it's all talk. I don't think he's actually going to threaten to do it because, he wouldn't be doing this if he didn't want to play football. So I agree. I think he's not. He's threatening it, but I don't think he's actually going to go through with it. He'd be crazy to do that.
Agreed.
And that would be a
lot of money, too, he'd leave on the table.
I know. There's no reason to walk away from that. Makes zero sense. All right, Atlanta Hawks star guard Trae Young was ejected from last night's play-in game against the Orlando Magic. Young received his first unsportsmanlike penalty after throwing the ball directly at referee James Williams, and then received his second tech foul later after, quote, kicking the ball away from making a mockery of the game as they were attempting to shoot free throws from his first technical. And by rule, when the player received 2 unsportsmanlike fouls, he was ejected from the game, Williams said. The referee.
Mm-hmm. Right after the game. Ryan, buy or sell, do you believe there should be a harsher punishment for Young's poor behavior besides being ejected? I would say sell. Now, he's going to get fined.
Sell.
And fined a very good amount, but I don't think he should be suspended. Trae Young's this is just poor. Poor class, poor sportsmanship. He is a loser. That's it. That's, I think, what he is, and this is loser behavior. He's not getting what he wants. He wants to pick up his ball and go home. Threatening to kind of throw the ball and kind of pump fake the ref, move the ball away in a disrespectful way. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for him. It's very childish. But with that said, do I think he deserves to be suspended for the next playing game as the Hawks are fighting for their playoff lives? I don't think so. I think he should play. He's going to get he's going to be hurting in the wallet big time here, and I expect the NBA to levy as big of a fine as they possibly could. For sure, it's going to be 6 digits. But I don't think anything harsher. I don't think a suspension here is warranted for this behavior from Trae. If it happens again, I'd say, okay, let's talk about it. In this instance, I say no, a fine is okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think the same thing. Like, a fine is, obviously should have been ejected, was not behaving properly. And I agree that. So there's talk about, there should be a harsher penalty for that. Like, look, fine him, tell him to knock it off. If he continues to do it, if he does it like the next playing game, then you could further your punishment.
Then recess.
But I feel like hopefully Trae Young learns from this and he moves on. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. Also, another playing game, Cole Anthony came off the bench to put up 26 points and 6 assists to lead the Magic to a dominant 120-95 win over the Hawks. Anthony said he was thankful to be able to help his team out in last night's game.
It meant a lot. It was a big game. I was just, I was happy to make the rotation. I'll be honest. I didn't know Moses was gonna be rocking with me tonight, but it was this was just an awesome game to be a part of. I was just happy to be out there and do something that feel like I was contributing to the team. And so, great win, but this was a full team effort.
Ryan, buy or sell? Will the Orlando Magic bench need to step up like Anthony did last night if the Magic want any chance to make a deep playoff run?
Oh, buy. Forget even just a deep playoff run, Jack, to win 2 games against the Celtics.
Yeah.
They're going to need all hands on deck here to beat Boston, who I think, for me, is going to go back-to-back. I think they're the best team in the NBA, even though record-wise it doesn't show it. The only thing that really Boston has to worry about is just boredom. Even last year in their run to the title, they had games and had series go longer than they should because they just had complete no-shows, whether it's halves, games, quarters. They just look disinterested. They're discombobulated. They're making a lot of mental mistakes and having a lot of mental lapses. If they are locked in for most of this series, they're going to wipe the floor with the Magic and most teams that they play. The Magic are going to need a heroic effort from Anthony, from the entire bench, just, I think, to get this series to 6 games. Forget a deep playoff run here. They had no chance to beat the Celtics.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Magic, while I think Cole Anthony played awesome last night, I think that it's going to be more than just the bench. Like, the whole team has to play very well, especially against Boston, because Boston's the defending champions, and they've just been nothing but dominant throughout the entire NBA season. Finally, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors are able to advance past the play-in tournament to face and they're going to face number 2 seed Houston Rockets. Curry put up 37 points, and he put up last night's game with 2 critical threes at the end of the game. Curry said he's very grateful for the opportunity to make it into the playoffs this late in his career.
It's just a reminder that it's not guaranteed. I don't care how talented you are. You look around the league, you could argue more talented teams than we have that are on the outside looking in. So you appreciate the moments. That's why we've been talking this game for the last 2 months since the trade deadline, how much how important it is to play meaningful games. And now we have a series that's going to be full of meaningful ones.
Ryan, buy or sell, do you believe that this is Curry's last chance to make an opportunity to win a championship?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a cliffhanger, Jack. I want to wait to the next segment here, end the show, to give you my answer, because I want to dive more into this as the Warriors did take down the Grizzlies last night to advance to the playoffs officially, where they do face the Rockets here in round number 1. So you ask, is this Steph Curry's last chance to have an opportunity to win a championship? It is Ryan Hickey in for Bill right here on Reiter Than You. I will answer that question after we get this latest sports update from Andrew Bogish.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Hickey, the Hawks were down 22 fairly quickly last night in Orlando. They did get as close as 3 in the third before fading away for good and before Trae Young got ejected with 5 minutes left for those back-to-back techs.
Sometimes I take my frustration out on the rest, not just for me, it's for my teammates. Like, if you see a foul, you should call the foul, and that's pretty much all it was for me.
After a basket, Young threw a hard pass to ref James Williams for his first tech, then kicked the ball away as Williams rolled it down the floor to another ref for number 2. Williams told a pool reporter post-game that Young was making a mockery of the game. The Hawks lost 120-95 and now wait on tonight's Bulls-Heat winner. That elimination game is Friday night in Atlanta. The Grizzlies lost to the Warriors last night, 121-116, so they'll host the Mavs or Kings on Friday. Golden State and Orlando are the 7 seeds in their brackets now, facing the Rockets and Celtics in round 1. Former Tennessee QB Nico Iamaleava is reportedly in the transfer portal where they do not contact tag, which usually means the player already knows where they're going. And Florida A&M expected to hire Charlie Ward as its men's basketball coach. I'm Andrew Bogish.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Do you feel the vibes?
Welcome back to Reiter Than You on the Infinity Sports Network.
It is Ryan Hickey in for Bill right here on the Infinity Sports Network. If you like what you hear so far, do check out Hick At Nite, Nite spelled N-I-T-E. It is on every Sunday right here on the Infinity Sports Network from 10 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Eastern. Do check that out, and I produce for JR Sport Brief every single Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. So your boys are here a lot on the Infinity Sports Network. If you're just tuning in, just hearing this name for the first time, you can listen to me on Sundays. Follow me on Twitter, Ryan_Hickey3. And also check out my YouTube channel where a lot of videos from this show and other shows are posted as well. Ryan Hickey on YouTube. Simple as can be. So before we went to break, Jack Carty in Buy or Sell asked me, do you believe this is Steph Curry's last chance to have an opportunity to win a championship? I'm going to say buy.
Buy.
I think this is the last one. Now, with that said, well, I do think this is his last shot to win a title. I think he has no chance to win a championship this year. I think that championship window for Steph Curry with Golden State has been slammed shut. Because you look at I think last night's a perfect example. Warriors squeaked by the Grizzlies here to get, first of all, the fact that the Warriors even made the play-in game to begin with is problematic here, as they could not clinch a top 6 seed, in part because they lost 3 out of the last 5 regular season games to fall into the play-in. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2, looking at how last night's game went. You're up 20 against the Grizzlies early in the first half, can't put them away. John Moran in the second half rolls his ankle as he starts to get hot and come alive. And so for most of that second half and most of crunch time, John Moran is either not on the floor or extremely hobbled and not playing the way we know John Moran can play. And still, you're losing. Still, you need Steph Curry to come in here with a heroic effort just to barely squeak by the Grizzlies just to make the playoffs officially. I don't see how you can look at Golden State as a legitimate title contender this year. I think they can and will beat the Rockets in round number 1. I think the biggest difference for me in that series is going to come down to playoff experience. The Warriors have it. The Rockets don't. I think the game does change in the playoffs compared to the regular season. And I think the Rockets are going to learn that lesson the hard way. But beyond Houston, if they are able, in fact, to get by, which I think will be a tough series, can they take down the Lakers in round 2? I don't think so. Could they take down the Thunder? I don't think so. Could they take down the Celtics? No. And so when you look at the Warriors right now in the state of where they are, I just think for me, their ceiling is first round win, first round playoff win. Get to the semifinals of your conference. That's it. That's where their ceiling is, because while Steph still is playing at a high level and poured in 37 last night, well, Jimmy Butler has been an amazing addition for Golden State since the trade. They've been way better than I anticipated. And playoff Jimmy was alive and well last night, scoring 38 points. Still, you saw, because there's really no other scoring threat besides Jimmy, besides Steph. That's why the Warriors are in these close games. That's why they can't pull away when you're up by 20 or put a team away. They don't really do anything well. Like, outside of just having those two players, what do the Warriors do well? What do they do well defensively? What do they do well offensively? Who else can you truly rely on in games of these magnitudes outside of those two players? I got nothing for you. So this is the last chance I think Steph has, but even in that, I think he has no chance at winning a title. I don't think next year things will get any better. The Warriors will then just be a year older. More wear and tear, more taxation on the body. They're not aging the way LeBron is aging. And they're in a tough spot cap-wise. They don't have much flexibility. Jonathan Kuminga is going to probably be traded, but what's his value right now? Doesn't look to me very high. So I just don't see how the Warriors are going to be able to, in the next year, 2, maybe 3, I don't see how they're going to be able to build a good enough team around Steph Curry to get to that title contention level. Even if you're not a Thunder believer, let's say, and you want to see them actually finally win some playoff games before you start believing in them making a run to the finals and being the next great team in the NBA, well, I think they're only going to get better. That team is insanely young and talented. They're only going to get better as the years go on, as they get more older and gain more experience. The Lakers now with Luka have their timeline just completely shifted. It's not just now, okay, it's all about LeBron and we'll see about the next year, 2, 3 years. They have now a 10-year window where they can compete for titles year in and year out. The West is tough. I'm not ready to write off the Nuggets just yet. You have Nikola Jokic, the best player in the league, for probably another 4 or 5 years. You make one right move, I think, to turn that franchise around, you could be a contender very quickly. The Clippers, I think, are very dangerous when they're healthy, and this year they're healthy. The Celtics in the East are going nowhere anytime soon. Like, there are just so many good teams. I don't see the Warriors climbing that mountain again. Steph's got 4 rings. Very impressive. He's going to go down with one of the best careers we've ever seen in NBA history. With that said, no more titles for Steph. His window has closed, and I think what you watched last night, even though it was a win, not convincing, and I think a lot of red flags popped up in that win. That game, I think, highlighted why the Warriors championship window with Steph Curry is closed shut. 888-710-4ISN. It is Ryan Hickey in for Bill right here on Reiter Then You. As a reminder, this portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. That is checkethos.com. Not available in all states. So I want to give a shout out to Major League Baseball because they do a lot wrong and they get criticized often for mostly doings of their own that they force. They get fans upset, players upset. Already, they're the only sport already talking about a labor dispute and a lockout 2 years from now. It's infuriating. But one thing they do well that I was not aware of up until yesterday was that they treat their former players really well. They have this thing called a lifetime pass, where if you have played 8 years of service, or if you have put in, 8 years of service time at the MLB level, if you're a front office member with 25 years in the league, you get a lifetime pass, which means you can go to any game at any stadium for free and all you got to do is walk up to the box office, present the pass, and you get the best tickets that they have available in the box office. That is awesome. I learned about this from Jason Grilli, former Pirates pitcher. He posted a photo the other day of him behind home plate. I don't know, looks about 30 rows up. He used his lifetime pass to get him and his son into a Pirates game to watch Paul Skeens. That's awesome. That is so cool. I want to give MLB a lot of credit because, again, they get a lot of flack, and rightfully so. That's one of the things they do really well. A lifetime pass is a genius idea. I'm not aware, maybe it's ignorance on my part, and I apologize if that's the case. I'm not aware of any other league having this sort of lifetime pass card allowing other players to go to any game they want at any point they want for free for the rest of their life. That's cool. That's how you treat, I think, former players. Good on MLB for having this idea and at least giving a thank you to players that have given it their all to the sport. Very, very cool. Baseball does a lot of things wrong. This is one of the few things they actually did right. All right, so the biggest story I would say of today, outside of the Warriors taking down the Grizzlies here and making the playoffs as they now face the Rockets starting over the weekend, is that the transfer portal in college football has officially opened. It opens today. The spring portal window is open for 10 days, which means it closes next Saturday. This is the last time before the season starts in the fall that you can transfer and be eligible to play in 2025. And to the surprise of nobody, former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava today officially put his name in the transfer portal. And it's interesting because you heard this in Andrew Bogus's update, and CBS Sports is the one with the report, that Iamaleava entered his name in the transfer portal with a do not contact tag. Means he's in the portal, but when you have a do not contact tag, it's exactly what it says. Do not reach out to me. Do not call me. Do not text me. Usually players do that when they have a school that they already have an idea that they're going to go to. Because now, unfortunately, right, in the world of college sports, it's not just good enough that you enter the transfer portal. A lot of these deals are done behind the scenes, agents talking to coaches, family members talking to staffers, and even before you enter the portal, you have a good idea, hey, I know where I'm going. That's why I mention the portal in the first place, because I know I already have a landing spot. Rarely do players jump in the portal blind without any idea of what their market is and which teams will be interested. So Nico Iamaleava has put a do not contact tag, which I find fascinating because I don't know where he's going. This has been an extremely well-reported saga. Started with On3, to their credit, getting the story right in the first place of Nico and his team having negotiations with Tennessee. Then breaking that Nico skipped practice on Friday, which led to Tennessee basically dismissing him and saying, you're gone, buddy. Go in the portal. We don't want you anymore. And we've gotten reports about Notre Dame not being interested, USC not being interested, North Carolina with Bill Belichick not being interested. They opted for a different transfer quarterback. By the way, the least surprising thing ever, Bill Belichick does not want a problematic family member influencing his program. I'm shocked to hear that. Tulane even apparently was negotiating and had some talks with Nico and his family about playing for the Green Wave and what a contract would look like. And even Tulane, by all reports, got frustrated and said, we're good, we're out, we're done here. We don't want you anymore. I don't know where he's going. My guess, my assumption where it is at the end of the day is that he's at UCLA. A West Coast guy, a California kid, UCLA needs him. It's kind of one of those small risk, high reward situations where if he goes there and implodes, okay, well, UCLA was going to be bad anyway. Expectations weren't high. It's most likely going to be a one-year rental anyway, whether he plays well or plays poorly. He's probably gone next year. So this is kind of a reclamation project here in 2025 for Nico Iamaleava. My guess would be UCLA. But apparently either he knows or he wants to be the one reaching out, not the other way around. But you see their anonymous Power 4 general manager saying his market's nothing. It's bad. This is, I think, a masterclass of what not to do, how not to handle this situation. I think Nico Iamaleava is going to end up as a cautionary tale. I really do. I don't think this ends well for him. I don't think his NFL stock is going to be improved whatsoever. His college stock clearly is already in the tank. I don't think he's going to improve his game come draft time whenever he does want to enter the NFL draft, whether it's next year, whether it's 2 years from now. I just don't see in the short term and in the long term how this ends positively for Tennessee's former quarterback. It's sad because I think his father is the one that is the bad guy here, not per se Nico himself. But this is a situation where he's going to learn the hard way of sometimes the freedom that you have in terms of jumping in the portal and doing what you want doesn't always work out the best for you. That's the music, which means this show is done. Big thank you to Jack Carty for producing today. Big thank you to you. Thank you for tuning in and making us a part of your Wednesday. Don't go anywhere. The Rich Eisen Show is up next on most of these affiliates. If you like what you hear, check me out every single Sunday night, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. It is Hick At Nite. Follow me on Twitter, Ryan_Hickey3. It has been Ryan Hickey wishing you a great rest of your week right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break.